Hey guys, welcome back to the BuzWeaver channel, and in our top stories today from the Daily Caller, probably one of the biggest topics across social media as well as in the media, although it kind of comes and goes, but two very simple words. Trump makes his stance on Iran unequivocally clear. Of course, this has been an ongoing issue for many decades. President Donald Trump clarified his demands for the end of the conflict between Israel and Iran. Two very simple words: unconditional surrender. Trump told Jennifer Griffin on Fox News on Wednesday, "I've had it. I give up," Trump added, referring to Iran. You know, for 40 years, they've been saying this and that nobody else that they didn't like. They were bullies. They were schoolyard bullies. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we have the continuing conflict that the establishment uniparty is trying to hold over Trump's head, of course, because it's a complex situation. And YouTube kind of limits what we can say or talk about when it comes to this particular topic, so it isn't a lack of information that I can share with you. It is so much as to keep it within the parameters of YouTube because of their fickleness when it comes to this topic. But what they do like to focus on, or what the media likes to focus on, is trying to pit Trump and his supporters against other individuals within the party or other individuals. But nonetheless, we have here from Mediaite, which is insufferable. CNN's Caitlin Collins confronts Trump about MAGA being split on Iran, dividing a lot of your supporters. Now, they try to make a big deal out of this as though she did something extraordinarily epic for whatever their point scoring system is for it. But when you listen to it, she's just asking a typical generic leftist question.
You've seen the Tucker Carlson and Senator Ted Cruz interview. It seems like this issue on whether or not the United States should strike is kind of dividing a lot of your supporters.
No, my supporters are for me. My supporters are America first. They make America great again. My supporters don't want to see Iran have a nuclear weapon. Tucker's a nice guy. He called and apologized the other day because he thought he said things that were a little bit too strong.
So very similar to Elon. You know, Trump is in a very powerful position, right? Now, of course, the left and the media want to try to divide and create controversy and stir the pot and do all these sorts of things like we see with Democrats now. They're trying to disrupt ICE arrest and these sorts of things, you know, for their political clout. And of course, their performative, you know, desires to always be in front of the camera doing dumb things. And it just makes them look dumb. Now, I don't, you know, Caitlin Collins said this, but of course, Mediaite had to exaggerate and sensationalize it as though she did some big own on Donald Trump. And you don't see any of this. And so he's just basically, and he goes on to kind of clamor and stammer for quite a bit on this topic. Of course, the issue is, of course, what's going to happen in the Middle East, Iran versus Israel, or Israel versus Iran, right? The situation there and what's going to happen, which is important for the rest of the world. Now, for me personally, my interests are more domestic, but I know this was a topic that a lot of people have been discussing, have been thinking about, and were concerned about, but maybe not so much concerned about because of the air dominance of Israel. They have complete air superiority there. They're doing what they can do, but they can't hit some of the sites that Iran has because they don't have the bunker-busting bombs to penetrate down into those areas to eliminate, to entirely eliminate it. But I saw that the Crown Prince of Iran was saying that the Ayatollah was, obviously not capable of continuing to control the country. So his statement that he came out with was very important and very critical because that's what basically the United States and Israel is looking for, is a regime change, right? That the Crown Prince will, maybe take a little bit more of attention away from the Ayatollah, because that's where all the extremists are, is under the Ayatollah. And so the Prince came out and he spoke, and I thought it was great that he was kind of almost denouncing the Ayatollah as having failed and being someone who has, misled the country for many years, and he has actually. So that's kind of an interesting point that obviously the media sadly isn't covering. And but what they are concerned about is how MAGA is divided as they perceive it. There are people that are having discussions back and forth over the issue, but I've not seen anything, say, as agitated as it was with Elon. Now, when Elon was saying what he was saying, there was more agitation between, I guess, the Elon camp type individuals versus Trump. And now, of course, you have the Tucker Carlson crowd versus MAGA versus Donald Trump, or these kind of back and forths. But this is what the media likes to focus on. But for me personally, if you guys are ever wondering what I'm concerned about, I am still focused on Pam Bondi going after New York, Letitia James, Alvin Bragg, Judge Merchan, Judge Engoron, because of the absolute prosecutorial misconduct that they were engaged in. Now, it seems kind of odd that I would bring that up, but I spent over 5 years in law, and what I saw them do to Donald Trump was absolutely despicable. It was beyond reproach. It was absolutely the most horrific thing I had ever seen in any sort of legal situation you could ever be in. The absolute abuse of their power to go after Donald Trump on things that were out of the statutes of limitation, manipulating the law, manipulating the jury. But I don't want to go off too much on the topic that we're covering today. I just wanted you guys to know what I find to be the most pivotal and the most important. But to the media, it is always going to be about how they can divide Trump, how they can make him look bad, how they can undermine him, how they can use these little spats between different groups within the Trump supporters and so forth. But you guys all let me know down in the comment section. I'm interested in what are you interested in what Donald Trump is doing? What do you want to see Donald Trump achieve and accomplish as president? And maybe any thoughts that you have on the Israel-Iran conflict that is going on right now. I think that Iran has pretty much been, set back many, many years maybe, or at least considerably set back in any desires or aspirations they may have about going after Israel in the future. They're really in trouble. And, obviously I empathize with the people of Iran versus the Ayatollah and all his cronies and so forth that Israel was able to take care of quite many of those. But let me know down in the comments, what are your particular thoughts on Donald Trump or on this particular conflict? I'd like to know what you guys think. I want to thank all you guys across BitChute, Rumble, and Odyssey for your guys' continued support. And, of course, everyone here on YouTube for your guys' continued support. Of course, below this video, you can find the various social media links that I belong to include X right here in my affiliate link, so take advantage of that. But, of course, helping out the channel is as simple as hitting that like button, as well as sharing the content, and, of course, subscribing if you haven't already. And speaking of subscribing, appearing there on the screen, that'd be the channel icon for all of you watching on YouTube. You guys can click on that to subscribe, as well as select notifications. That way you know when there's content here on the channel. And I'll see all you guys in the next video.